Well, hey everybody, welcome back to another virtual chat. I am so excited to have Carly Wynn from Transy University here with us. I think she's got some great information in store for you. And so I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to her.
Hi everyone, thank you for joining me today. I'm gonna go ahead and screen share so that you guys can see my presentation and see, all the pictures of campus. Actually, hang on, my computer is being slow today. 1 second, let me get it set up. Sorry, it's like a Monday mentally. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to just talk with you guys a little bit about Transylvania in general, so you can get some really good background on us as a campus, and then we will definitely have time for questions. I'm also going to share my contact information, so if you do not want to ask questions, in person, you're able to just reach out to me, whatever works best for you. But this picture really showcases our campus in general. We are a small liberal arts college located right downtown in Lexington. So our campus, you can see at the front, it's where there's all of that green space, the brick buildings. It has the feel of a small liberal arts campus, that close-knit community, but it also is right downtown in Lexington. We're in the historic north end of the city. We're about 3 blocks away from the heart of downtown. So you get the opportunity to have the small class sizes and to get to know your faculty on campus, but then you get to walk downtown and take advantage of being in a bigger city. Lexington's the second biggest city in the state, so there are lots of opportunities, whether you want to boost your career and get internships or networking, or whether you are more interested in, just going to restaurants, having stuff to do on the weekends. There's lots of opportunities. We're kind of in a unique position. There are only 9 in the top 100 liberal arts schools that are located in Lexington. So there's some really great opportunities that are kind of unique to Transylvania. Being a liberal arts school, I do like to talk about what that means. I know a lot of students, it's hard to define liberal arts, and so you might not know exactly what it means, but basically liberal arts means that you are exposed to classes that are outside of your main area of focus. So a really good example of this, instead of a definition, I'm going to share a quick story, is a conversation I was having with an alum just a few years ago. She went to Transylvania, went on to medical school after she graduated. She was a biology major when she was at Transy. And when she, was in medical school and talking about the classes from her undergrad at Transy that stuck out to her the most, they weren't biology. They were psychology and they were sociology. They were the classes that she took that were outside of her major. And the reason those stuck out to her is because they taught her about the human aspect of the medical field. They taught her to ask who has been left out of these conversations in the past. They taught her to ask, why we do things the way that we do, and to really always bring it back to the patient. And she felt like that gave her a leg up in medical school because some of her classmates did not have a liberal arts background, and so they weren't thinking about the human aspect. But she definitely has been thinking about how to improve the field. So that's kind of the heart of liberal arts, is we are going to teach you critical thinking. We're going to teach you how everything kind of relates to one another, and just how to ask those deeper questions of how and why. Do you want to show some more pictures of Lexington? It has a really cool arts scene. So if you're interested in going to performances, there's concerts coming through. We get the Traveling Broadway series. But as I mentioned, there's just lots of shops and restaurants. So there's a lot going on. And then when it comes to academics, as I mentioned, we're a small school. We have about 1,000 students total on campus. And so that means you get the small class sizes. So the average class size is about 14 or 15. The largest class you're ever going to have is 35. So definitely on the smaller end. This picture right in the middle really showcases kind of the average class size, maybe one of the bigger ones, but typically you're not having lecture-based learning, you're having discussion-based learning. So the faculty are joining you in the conversation, or maybe they're having you, have a Skype conversation with someone in another country who can help add to the conversations that you're having and the subjects that you're learning. It's very active learning. You're definitely committed to learning as much as you can through conversation and through discussion, and you get to be a very active participant. One other element that we've added is we have really started a digital liberal arts initiative. And so what that means is we know that the world is rapidly changing, right? The world that you are living in is, changing so quickly because of the digital era. And so one thing that we've heard is that students who are in high school and younger, typically the jobs that they're going to have after they graduate from college don't even exist yet. That's kind of how quickly the world is moving. And so we want to prepare you for what's out there, even if we don't know what that looks like, right? So we know that there's going to be a digital component for every person's job coming up. And so even if you are a philosophy major or a history major, we want you to be able to tap into that digital aspect. So we have a lot of training that the faculty go through to make sure that they are bringing that digital component to the classroom. And then you are welcome to look at the list of majors just to kind of walk you through this. The 2 columns on the far left are our majors that we offer. We also offer minors in most of those fields, plus that middle category that you see right there. If you're looking at this list and you are like, that's great, but I want to major in something else, we have the opportunity for you to self-design a major. So you can look at the list of what students have done in the past. Some really popular ones recently have been criminal behavioral studies, which kind of gets to the forensic side of anthropology and psychology. Public relations, kind of focusing more on our communications major, which is nestled in writing, rhetoric, and communications, but expanding it to actually the public relations side. And then we're seeing a lot with more international. So there's some really cool opportunities for you to self-design a major. The other thing I like to point out on this page are our pre-professional programs. So you'll see that right in the middle at the bottom. We have pre-health, we have pre-law, and we have pre-engineering. So pre-health and pre-law function very similarly. Their focus is to get you onto that next level. So whether that's medical school, physical therapy school, law school, they are working with you all 4 years to make sure you're getting the classes that you need, you're getting any internship opportunities that you need, and that you're also honing your resume and working on your application so that you are the best applicant possible for that next level. So we see some really excellent success rates come out of that. And we'll talk about that in just a minute, but I want to talk about pre-engineering before we move on to that. So with pre-engineering, it's a little bit different than the other two because it kind of is a dual enrollment program almost. So it's a 4+1. And with that, we take advantage of our relationship with the University of Kentucky. They are a mile away from our campus, so not far at all. And with pre-engineering, you're actually taking up to 6 classes on their campus at their College of Engineering between your junior and senior year of college. So you're full-time enrolled as a Transylvania student, but you're able to take these classes on the side, and they fast track your master's so that a master's of engineering only takes 1 year. So it's a really great advantage. With engineering, obviously you need critical thinking. So to have that background within the liberal arts curriculum and to have the discussion-based learning from the get-go really is an advantage for you as you go into the pre-engineering field. As I mentioned, with pre-law and pre-health, we do have excellent success rates. We have about a 90% acceptance rate of students who work through the pre-health program and are accepted at that next level. So whether that is medical school, dental school, pharmacy school, physical therapy school, whatever your interest is, we're going to make sure you get there. The national average for acceptance into those fields is about 45%. So 90% is awesome. It's a really successful rate. And then we actually see about a virtually 100% law school acceptance rate. So very strong on the law school side. And something I really like to point out with that is students are not just staying in Kentucky for law school. If you are really into international politics and international law, we have a lot of connections with law schools on the East Coast. So that's a really good place to be for that. Washington, D.C. is a great place to be for a lot of politics. And we have students who are going there for law school. So there's some really good connections really all over. You don't have to be going to medical school or law school to have excellent success rates though at that next level. We see 95% of students who are employed or in grad school within 6 months of graduation. So very strong on all fronts. We definitely want our students to succeed after they graduate. Obviously, we want you to come to Transylvania and have an amazing 4 years, but we really care about what happens after those 4 years. We really want you to get on to that next level. And so there are some good student success measures that we have in place for your time at Transylvania. 2 of those are more focused on what you're going through when you're a student, and 2 are kind of focused on that next step. So we have tutoring on campus. and our ACE Tutoring Center, which is in our library. We offer those, there's tutoring every weeknight of the week from like 7 to 9 in the library, and it's a free resource for our students. We also have our writing center, so if you need help forming the thesis for your papers or working on your outline or just editing at the end, you have the opportunity to go to the writing center, get mentored by a peer who's also, you know, they're an upperclassman student, they've been trained in this, and they're there to help you. In terms of looking forward, we have our Center for Academic and Professional Enrichment, that's called CAPE. We abbreviate it to that because we're Transylvania, why not have some fun with our name? I know a lot of people think of the Vampire's Cape, but CAPE is a great resource for our students that houses anything career development, pre-professional. If you need help with your resume, if you need help finding an internship, finding shadowing opportunities, they host different networking events. They do a mock interview for students if you need help before a job interview or a grad school interview. They're just really there to make sure that you have every tool that you need. And they have really great connections all over. So if you want an internship in New York for the summer or back in Bowling Green for the summer, they have connections to make sure that happens. Another program that kind of stems out of CAPE is the 100 Doors to Success mentorship program. So 100 Doors, this is actually a really fantastic program that got developed a few years ago. Students can join as early as their freshman year, and we are going to pair you with a mentor who is working in the field that you want to go into. If you don't know what you want to do, great, you can still have a mentor. They are there to really just make sure that you get the guidance you need for figuring that out. But if you do know what you want to do, I think the biggest benefit of this is networking that we've seen come out of it. So these mentors typically live in the local community, and they are there to really, if they want to bring you to work with them and introduce you to their coworkers, if they want to take you to networking events, they're just exposing you to everyone who works in their field that they know, which is fantastic because you guys might have heard this, but people aren't getting jobs anymore solely based on education and experience. It's also who you know. So to have that networking component and to, you know, as early as being 18 or 19 as a freshman in college to get introduced to people in your future career path and start making those connections is just really great for finding those jobs after you graduate. So definitely some really awesome resources. If you guys are interested in the fine arts, there is a lot going on campus. As I mentioned, Lexington is a very artsy city, so there are opportunities within Lexington itself, but even on campus, we have a lot of different fine arts programs. We have both performing arts and then also like studio art and creative writing, but we also have a fine arts scholarship. So this is a really good way to get some extra money towards college. It goes up to $3,000 per year, and it's not all hinged on your major or minor. For example, with music and theater, there's just a participation component. So you do have to take some specific classes like band or music lessons or a theater practicum, but you are able to, you know, receive this scholarship money that goes towards all 4 years, and you don't have to commit to music or theater being your major or minor. With art history, and creative writing, you do at least have to minor in those classes, but the way our curriculum works out, it's pretty easy to add a minor. So again, you're able to get good money towards your college education by doing something that you already love. And if you have questions about that, we can definitely talk about that. And then one last thing I like to talk about with academics is study abroad. So with study abroad, there are 4 different ways that students can study abroad. You can actually do multiple of these too. So if you really like travel, you really want to spend a lot of time doing that study abroad, maybe you're an international affairs major and you want to see what different cultures are like, you're able to do that. So 2 of the longer programs are Global Transy and our summer programs. So those are both, like I said, a little bit longer. Global Transy is the name for our semester-long programs. And with these, we pair with national study abroad organizations. So you're not going just with Transylvania students and faculty, you might be going with students from universities all over the country. But the cool thing with Global Transy is, 1, there's 36 different programs, so you're not limited really in where you go. But there's also really great opportunities for you to carry over your scholarships and financial aid that you're already receiving. So you typically don't end up paying that much extra. You know, the flight might be a little bit extra. Sometimes housing might be separate, but overall it ends up being very affordable. Summer programs are typically 1 to 3 months, And again, with those, we pair with national programs. There are a lot of Kentucky-based study abroad programs. They're also called KEYS, not like your keys money. It's KIIS, but there's some really great programs where you might be going with students, you know, instead of from all over the country, they might all be from Kentucky, just from different universities within Kentucky. So there's really good programs and a lot of scholarship opportunities with summer study abroad as well. If you want a shorter program, you know, maybe it doesn't fit into your schedule to do a longer program, or you just, you know, want this different experience, the two shorter programs are May term and winter break. So May term is actually a mini semester that every student has in their calendar. So it's part of our academic calendar on Transylvania's campus. It's about 4 weeks, and it's a learning intensive mini semester. So you're only enrolled in one class, and during that time, you're taking that class every day for about 2 hours. And because it's only one class, a lot of faculty will take students abroad. So like this picture in the middle was an international politics trip that went to China 2 years ago for May term. So they were there for about 3 weeks. They went to a few different cities. And the cool thing with May term is it's all Transylvania faculty and Transylvania students. So you know who you're going with. If you maybe might be a little bit nervous or apprehensive about studying abroad, it's a really good first experience because it's immersion, but it's not full immersion in a different culture. And then if you want an even shorter experience, winter break is about a week and a half long. It's mostly service-based, and there's a lot of fundraising to make it affordable for students. But this happens right between like Christmas and the start of the spring semester. So it's a really short, good opportunity to get abroad. And as I mentioned, you can do multiple of these. If you want to do a semester 1 year and then a May term another year, you totally can. And then I do want to talk about student life. As I mentioned, we are a small school. So something that comes along with that is being a very close-knit campus. Transylvania is not a commuter school. You will not see students just packing up and leaving on the weekends. I know that, you know, coming from about 2.5 hours away from Bowling Green, it can be kind of intimidating to think about going away from home and maybe students not being there 24/7, but 75% of our students live on campus. Most of that other 25% that is living off campus lives within a few blocks of our campus. So they're right there. People want to be involved, and it's really not a suitcase campus. Students are there when class is out. They're there in the evening and they're there on the weekends. There's a lot to do to get involved. We have over 50 clubs and organizations on our campus. I would say the most popular of these are going to be student government and student activities board, but we have clubs based on, you know, different religious groups if you're interested. There are academic honoraries, there's diversity groups, there's some just, you know, fun groups. We have a chess club, we have a gaming society that gets together and plays board games. There's just a lot going on campus. And if you are interested at all in community service, there are lots of ways to get involved as well. So as I said, we're in Lexington. There's a lot of outreach that we can do within the city to help make it a better place. We obviously want to give back to the city that we're part of instead of just being a separate entity from Lexington. And about 90% of our students are involved in community service. Honestly, the one reason why that number is so high is a lot of our clubs from that previous page that I just showed, they'll get together on like a Saturday and be like, hey, student government, we're going to go help out with Habitat for Humanity, or we're going to go help out with the food bank. So that really helps, you know, a lot of students get exposed to how they can help with community service, and a lot will go back and do more community service on their own or in small groups. For any of you guys who are athletes, Transy is a pretty athletic campus. We have about 35 to 40% student athlete population on campus. So that means there's a lot of support for our student athletes, which I think is fantastic. The coaches obviously need to care about how you're doing in the classroom, but that support is mutual. The faculty really do care about how you're doing out on the field or on the court. A lot of them will come to support your games, which I think is just a really great, it really speaks to the community. We have kind of every sport you'd expect, except we don't have football and we don't have wrestling. Some more unique sports that we have are equestrian, we have a triathlon team, and we have field hockey and lacrosse. So lots of different ways to get involved. We also have really strong intramural programs. So if you're interested in maybe not being a full varsity athlete, but you still really like playing volleyball or playing tennis or playing flag football, they have about 2 to 3 week seasons throughout the year for each of those sports. So you can get out and still get active, get involved without having to commit to being a full student athlete. We are part of Division III for NCAA, so that means no athletic scholarships, but still definitely some really great opportunities to be a student athlete if you're interested. And then I do want to showcase what our dorms look like. I know a lot of students ask about that. All of our dorms are actually pretty new, and they're all either suite style or apartment style. So what that means is there's no communal bathrooms, no bathrooms down the hall, not that traditional dorm setup that you've probably heard about. Instead, the most amount of people you're sharing a bathroom with is 3 with that suite style setup where it's you and your roommate sharing a bathroom with the room next to yours. Apartment style just means you and your roommate have your own bathroom. And kind of the really nice thing about our campus is the residential side has all of our dorms right close together. So there's a really big, like I said, just community feel. Everyone kind of gets together and plays out in back circle when the weather's nice. We have a sand volleyball court. We have outside basketball courts. When the weather's just, beautiful, you'll see students studying out in the residential quad area all the time. So it's a good atmosphere, I think. And then on that side of campus is our new campus center. This just got completed this month. It is beautiful. I was in there just a few weeks ago. It's a really great space. We're really excited that it's finished. It has our new dining hall, which is just, you can see it in the bottom right. It's huge, it's beautiful. Our new food service company, which we got about 2 years ago, Bon Appetit, which really focuses on locally sourced organic food, really loves that they have this new space to work with. We also have a grab and go section if you're just interested in like grabbing coffee and a muffin before you go to class. And this building also houses our Health and Wellness Center, which has free campus counseling for students, as well as our free on-campus nurse. So some really good resources right there on the residential side of campus. 2 last things I do want to talk about. If you're interested in visiting, we have a lot of different options right now. So we do have limited in-person visits. They are limited. They are only one person or one family per tour, and there's 3 slots per day. So I know it's not as easy to get a tour right now as it would be in the past. But if you're on campus and it's like the evening or it's the weekend and for some reason you can't get a visit, we do have a self-guided tour. So you can actually do that on your phone. You can find it on the website link at the bottom. And basically our tour guides have recorded what they would talk about at the different buildings. So you can open it on your phone and click I'm at the library and hear what the tour guides would normally talk about at the library. So it's still kind of a good way to see what campus is like, and you're welcome to walk around, if you're on Transy's campus in Lexington. If you aren't able to make it to Lexington in the next few months, totally understand. I know travel's a little hard right now. We have a lot of virtual options. So this month, we have a really awesome event called Open House October, where we've basically spread out our open house that we would normally do into the whole month. And so there's different sessions at different times. They're being recorded. So if you can't make it to one, you can always ask me for the recording and I can send it to you. But there's different academic panels, student athlete panels, just student panels in general. There's going to be some essay workshops. There are going to be opportunities for you to just really get to engage with different students. It's going to be a really great opportunity. You can talk to the president, really cool sessions. So that's coming up, like I said, spread throughout the entire month of October. But if you want more individual attention, we have virtual admission sessions. We have some Saturday sessions available if that works best for you and your family. And we also have our video tour on our website. So again, just lots of ways to engage with Transylvania and get to kind of visit, even if you're not able to physically visit. And then for my seniors out there, I do want to talk about the application. We have 2 different ways that you can apply. We are on the Common application, but we also have our own Transylvania application. We don't have a preference between the 2. It's really what works best for you. So I know the Common app can be kind of overly thorough if you're using it to just apply to one school. So if for some reason, Transylvania is the only school on your list that uses the Common app, just do ours. It's a little bit shorter. But if you are using the Common app for a few other schools, just send that to us. It's going to be a lot easier on your end. But both are free. We don't have an application fee at all. And we don't ask for anything crazy. We do need your transcript. We do need a letter of recommendation, but we are a test optional college, and that goes for scholarships as well as admission. With the deadlines, We are early action. We're not early decision, so it's not binding. And the only difference between those two early action deadlines is timing. So the earlier you apply, the earlier you're going to find out. So if you apply by October 31st, you're obviously going to hear a lot earlier than the students who wait till December 1st. But you can find all of the information about how to apply at that website. And then the last thing I want to show is my contact information. I am your admissions counselor. I am your main contact at Transylvania. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have questions. If you're a phone call person, great, give me a call. If you prefer email, fantastic, send me an email. But I'm also here if you want to set up like a Zoom call, we can do that with you and your family. We can, still have the opportunity to talk and get through all of your questions when you need it. But thank you for joining me today, and I'm hopeful to work with you guys.
Carly, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. There's a lot of great information and things that I got to learn about Transy that I didn't know before. So I do appreciate that. I do have one quick question for you, though.
Yeah.
What would you say your favorite tradition on Transy's campus is?
So my favorite tradition, I love Halloween. I like we already decorated our apartment for Halloween like 2 weeks ago. It's my favorite. So we celebrate Halloween for about a week at Transylvania. And with that, my favorite event, I'll actually stop my video so you guys can see it, is Pumpkin Mania. Hopefully you guys can see this, but we have an event where for like 2 or 3 days, you can carve pumpkins, which is the best stress relief. This is right around midterms typically every year. So you just go, you carve a jack-o'-lantern, and then there's this building on campus that has 2 flights of stairs on the outside. And so you just line the steps with them. Last year we had like 500 pumpkins. And then they have Pumpkin Mania, which it happens on a Friday night typically, or close to Halloween if that works best. And all the different student organizations like set up trick-or-treating booths. The local community comes to campus, and they have a jack-o'-lantern lighting ceremony. So similar to a Christmas tree lighting ceremony, but they light all these pumpkins at once, and it brings the community together. I love it because the faculty, the students, and Lexington just kind of all come together, but it's just also Halloween, and I love it. So that's my favorite tradition.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'll open it to our students. Are there, and families, are there any questions from you guys? Okay. Well, if you all think of anything, Carly is your person, so definitely feel free to reach out to her. Carly, I can't thank you enough for this time, and we look forward to seeing how the year progresses and how our students connect with Transy. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I look forward to working with you guys.
Hey guys, we thought of something else that you all would be interested in hearing about. So I'm going to let Carly just tell you what she just told us.
Awesome. So I know I mentioned that our application is test optional. So with that, that actually extends to our Premier Scholarship Program this year as well. So that is a change that Transylvania has made. We wanted to really offer as many scholarships as possible to all students. So if a student is applying test optional in general, we do need an essay. So we have something else to go off of. And with that, that's not just, maybe you haven't gotten into test, but it might be that you don't think your test represents you. That's totally fine. But with Premier, especially this year, we know that students have not gotten into tests maybe at all or as much as they want. So for those scholarships that are interview-based that go up to full tuition, that's not tied to our ACT scores anymore this year. So if you maybe have not tested at all, maybe you have tested and it still wouldn't have been like the level that in the past we've been looking for, don't worry, we are still looking for those top students, and we're doing the holistic review on the application to find them. So make sure that you add an essay if you're interested in competing for those to your application, so we have as much information to go off of, and we still are, that is open to all students.
That is absolutely incredible. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
And by the way, friends, she's going to come back and join us for an essay workshop. I'm so thrilled. So you'll be able to see that on the website as well. So who better than an admissions counselor who reads through hundreds of essays to tell you what kinds of things stand out. So we're looking forward to that as well.
Yay.